Hello everyone, PoGeForce here. You're watching PoGeForce Plays, and not too long ago, Rare finally released The Legend of the Veil. Today, we're going to be talking about this new voyage. What it contains. Is it fun? Is it rewarding? And what does this brand new voyage mean for the Sea of Thieves? And what does it add to the lore? Let's start by going over what exactly The Legend of the Veil is. The Legend of the Veil is the new voyage available only to Pirate Legends. You purchase it from the Pirate Lord in the Athena's Fortune Tavern for 250 gold. The main goal of the voyage is to obtain 3 Veil Stones in order to return the Veil of the Ancients to its full power. The voyage is broken down into 3 sections, each ending with obtaining a Veil Stone. The first 2 sections can be any one of 3 random events. At the beginning of each section of the voyage, Ramsey himself will appear on your ship and give you a bit of exposition, along with some pages for your voyage book telling you where to go next. After each section, you will receive a Veil Stone, which you need to place in your Veil of the Ancients to proceed to the next step. Placing all 3 stones in the Veil of the Ancients will reward you with a speech from the Pirate Lord and a completion of your voyage.
To the east,
One of the random events is a map from Suds, which begins with you receiving correspondence from the absent-minded astrologer, requesting you to meet him in a specific place on a specific island. Once you meet him there, he will give you a treasure map that will lead to a Veil Stone. These treasure maps come in 3 types: a zoomed map, a picture map, or a lying map. A zoomed map is probably the easiest one, as it's a zoomed-in version of a standard treasure map, and you have to locate the dig spot based on how much of the island you can see. The picture map gives you pictures of an island that you have to identify based off its distinguishing landmarks, with a marking showing you where you need to dig. The lying maps are, in my opinion, the most difficult, where you have to check the markings of the ancients on the island and compare it to the ones on the map. Where the markings don't match is where you need to dig. In the case of any of the 3 maps, successfully locating the buried treasure will net you an ancient chest with a Veil Stone and 2 of the new Athena's Fortune treasures inside. This section seems it's meant to test your knowledge of the islands and your ability to find treasure with limited information. Another possible random event are the Haunted Islands, where you are asked to meet Belle on one of the larger islands. She will tell you there are hidden secrets on the island and that the Soul Flame Lantern will guide the way. She will give you the Soul Flame Lantern, which you can then raise to reveal hidden statues of the ancients holding braziers that you must light. One will always be right next to Belle, but the rest will be scattered over the island, revealed by beacons in the sky, as well as pulsing lights when you draw close. Once all 5 braziers are lit, a large vortex will appear over where you need to go next, accompanied by the same pulsing lights from earlier. Heading to the location of the vortex will show a group of ancients chanting, as well as 1 final brazier. Light it, and a bunch of Reaper phantoms will appear. Help the ancients drive off the Reapers, and another wave of Reaper phantoms will appear, along with a Soul Flame captain. Defeating the captain ends the battle, and causes him to leave behind several Athena treasures for your efforts. You can also talk to the ancient priest after defeating the captain, who will reward you with the Veil Stone you are searching for, along with a warning.
You fought well. I sought to reconnect the 2 worlds once. I now know they must remain parted. We must have balance, a world of the living and a world of the dead. Protect the Veil.
This really tests your ability to combat PvE threats, but also challenges your ability to find your way around an island from brazier to brazier. The last possible random event will be a Shipwreck Graveyard, which you will receive the coordinates of from the Pirate Lord. You can locate the Shipwreck Graveyard in much the same way as you would a sunken ship, by following the seagulls in the sky. Usually there will also always be a white-hulled galleon upside down and visible at the water's surface. In the graveyard itself, there will be 4 galleons, as well as some other ship debris. The goal is simple: to to get into the captain's cabin of the Grim Fortune. To do that, you need to explore the ships and overturn every tankard, every cabinet, every pillow, everything that you can interact with to find the key. You can also find other goodies here too, including skeleton captain skulls, gems, various Athena treasures, gold hoarder trinkets, merchant crates, and even merchant commodities. You can also find a journal, which gives you a clue as to which ship the key will be on. Once you find the key, use it to open the captain's cabin on the Grim Fortune, where you will find several Athena treasures, plus a treasure chest with 2 additional Athena treasures and a Veilstone inside. This one tests your ocean navigation in addition to your ability to navigate sunken ships. Once you have completed 2 of the 3 random objectives, your last task will be to confront a ghost fleet commanded by Flameheart and the Reapers at a nearby location. This location is easily visible by a swirling ghostly green tornado that can be seen from quite some distance away, though it's not quite as visible as world events. When you arrive at the location, 3 fort emplacements will appear around the tornado, which need to be destroyed by cannon fire. Each emplacement takes 5 direct hits of the cannon to destroy. The emplacements will fire on you, and there will be ghost ships sailing around trying to stop your progress. Destroying the ships isn't actually necessary, as destroying an emplacement will wipe out all ghost ships guarding it as well. Each emplacement will also reward 1 or 2 storage crates of the dam to help you keep up your supplies. Once all 3 emplacements are destroyed, the twister in the middle will disappear, revealing a much larger fortress. This fortress will also have ghost ships of its own defending it, as well as several different towers and bulwarks that will need to be destroyed before the fortress will fall. Each section of the fortress only takes 3 cannon hits to be destroyed. Once all parts of the fortress are destroyed, the battle is now over. You can climb the stairs at the front of the fort to claim your loot. There you will find captain's chests of the damned, ashes of the damned, skeleton skulls of the damned, and several Athena treasures, as well as an Athena's chest of legends. There will also be 1 final ancient chest containing 2 more new Athena treasures and your final Veilstone. So now we ask the question, is the Veil of the Ancients fun? The Veil of the Ancients is unlike any voyage we have seen before. It has all the story beats of a tall tale, but the pacing and loot rewards of a voyage. Each of the different random events actually highlights a different aspect of the core Sea of Thieves gameplay. Suds Maps rewards your ability to locate treasures using puzzles. Bell's Haunted Islands is an island exploration and land-based combat. And the Shipwreck Graveyards are ocean-based navigation and exploration. It's actually a great parallel to the key gameplay mechanics of the 3 main factions, Gold Hoarders, Order of Souls, and Merchant Alliance respectively. And the final battle against the fortress is an epic set piece that highlights Sea of Thieves' fantastic naval battle gameplay. It's not a very difficult voyage to complete if you're knowledgeable and decent with cannons, which, let's be honest, is kind of the expectation if you've made it all the way to Pirate Legend. But what's more, there are a slew of new commendations, not just for selling the loot, but for completing the new events within the voyage, as well as certain alternate challenges. The giant twister in the sky can also attract players to challenge you for your loot, so even the PvP crowd has something to look forward to. So there's something here for everyone. About the only thing it's missing is a fishing section. So we know that the Legend of the Veil is fun, but is it rewarding? I think everyone can agree that the best thing about the Legend of the Veil is not the story, nor the combat, nor the epic set pieces, but the loot. Completing the voyage in its entirety practically guarantees reaching grade 5 as an Athena emissary, as long as you don't sink in the process. Nearly all the loot you receive from doing the voyage can be sold to the Athena's Fortune as well, and includes several new treasures that actually sell for substantially more than the treasures of old. So getting to grade 5, then selling at the end of the voyage is a great way to earn a big chunk of money, as well as Athena's Fortune reputation. This actually has a nice replay loop too, since you can claim the grade 5 Athena Emissary quest, which also rewards only Athena treasures, albeit the older, not as valuable ones, and sell those while still at grade 5 for another decent chunk of money and reputation, then lower your emissary flag, raise it back up again as a grade 1, and start all over with another Veil of the Ancients.
See a neat trick?
As it stands, the Legend of the Veil is clearly the way to play as an Athena emissary. Now, a voyage that changes the meta this much clearly means that there's going to be some huge changes in the world of Sea of Thieves.
They're
For
both
one,
dead.
Athena emissaries are a lot more common. Now that there is an actually
both dead.
fun,
Turning them
rewarding, and
into-
reasonably
yeah,
easy to
anchor-
complete activity for
Anchor
them to
turned
do.
them into the island.
More than once now, I've logged into a server to see 2 or even 3 Athena emissaries already sailing the seas. Whereas before this voyage came out, you'd be lucky if you even saw 1. This also means
They
that
will both
for
come back
Reapers,
at the same
Athenas
time,
went from
by
being
the
the
way.
wild spawn shrouded ghost of Sea of Thieves PvP to being the shrouded ghost of the new
Oh,
adventure.
they have nothing.
Athena flags are a lot more common now, thus a lot more feasible to obtain for the elusive commendations that require them.
Come to think of
On
it,
top of that, because the new voyage is by far the best and most fun way to
hi.
play as an Athena's Fortune emissary, if you see one on the seas, you probably know exactly what they're up to. And since the
those
Twister is
Reapers
so
happen to
visible
have-
from such a great distance, it's a lot more likely that someone may come
Yeah.
to take your hard-earned loot. That said, in all the Veil runs I've done, only once was I ever interrupted.
oh,
And it wasn't even during the
Accidentally
last
clicked
part of the
cannonball
voyage.
on
Check
my
out
mouse.
this video to see more about that.
I'm
So
dead.
you should
but,
expect to
know,
see more engagements
that
with
ship
Athena
is
emissaries and a lot of teal
What?
twisters on the horizon. But now, we're going to talk about my favorite part, which is the lore implications of the entire voyage. At the beginning, you were told you were trying to claim the Veil Stones to keep them out of Flameheart's clutches, so it's clear that this is a continuation of this season's adventure stories. It makes sense that Suds would be recruited to help with the search, since he's considered an expert on the Ancients and the Veil is an artifact made by the Ancients. What I didn't expect was that Suds would pull some strings in the Merchant Alliance to get the information we need. Which is exactly what he did when you consider that the envelope he hands you bears the Merchant Alliance seal. You know, sometimes it's easy to forget this eccentric, mystical old man day jobs as a merchant selling discount goods. Of course, Belle is involved since it's a continuation of the adventure storyline, but what I find more interesting is less about Belle's involvement or the Soul Flame Lantern once again making its return, than the fact that the Ancients themselves are present on these haunted islands. Seeing them with the Soul Flame Lantern generally means only one thing: that they are spirits in the Sea of the Damned. And the priest tells you that he himself once strove to unite the two
I
worlds
sought
into
to
one.
reconnect the two worlds once.
Plus, he too is wearing a
I
veil
now
of the
know
Ancients,
they must remain
which
parted.
would make it obvious that there is
We
more
must
than
have
one.
balance.
According to lore, the Ancients had disappeared a long time ago, and supposedly the Sea of Thieves became a cursed place thanks to the upsetting of the natural order from the warrior transforming into a merfolk to be with the Siren Queen. Considering too that the Ancients went to war with the Sirens after, and likely lost, it's starting to look like the Ancients didn't so much disappear as fled into the Sea of the Damned using the Veil. The priest warns us though that the realms must remain parted, so it begs the question as to what would happen if they don't. Especially since at the end of the voyage, Pirate Lord says
I may even call upon you to use its powers before too long.
what benefit the Pirate Lord could possibly see in uniting the realms when that's exactly what Flameheart wanted is beyond me, but it seems based on the Ancients' behavior there could be some unforeseen consequences. Like literally everything else we do in this game, somehow making things worse, trying to make them better. Another few interesting notes about the Ancients is that while the head priest is wearing a veil of the Ancients, the other Ancients are wearing different masks. One is wearing a shark mask, one a mask of some kind of bird, another with perhaps a different kind of bird, and another mask that seems to be lacking any distinguishing features. These masks might possibly be referencing something in the Sea of Thieves Zodiac, though I couldn't say for sure. One last point of interest is that the final statue on the Haunted Island is wearing a rather recognizable crown. For those who recalled the ending of the legendary storyteller Tall Tale, this is the exact crown that we retrieved for Tasha based on the stories of the cursed pirate Briggsy. Briggsy was a close personal friend of Suds and shared his interest in astronomy and the Ancients. And so to see this crown as part of a centerpiece to which these Ancients are chanting and bowing to, perhaps the crown that we so carelessly gave to Tasha might actually have more significance than we originally thought. This may even be a setup to go find Tasha to retrieve the crown, only to discover that she finally saved up the money to get a ship of her own, just like she said she would, and now we have to go find her. I only hope her having such an artifact in her possession doesn't make her a target for the Reapers. Which reminds me about one last piece of interesting lore, which ties in with the recent closure of the arena and the suspected impending murder of a notable Sea of Thieves character. Common theory is that DeMarco will be targeted by Amarantha, the bloodthirsty woman set loose with the closure of the arena and now able to fully unleash her fury upon her former colleague. Part of that theory includes the fact that the Reapers have apparently been frequent visitors to the Glorious Sea Dogs Tavern, as mentioned by several of the merchants located there. And since these emplacements and forts are drawn from memory from the Sea of the Damned, it's worth noting that the emplacements for this voyage are quite prominently displaying the Glorious Sea Dogs emblem. What this means exactly is uncertain, but at the very least, to have it appear on the emplacement so clearly would suggest that whoever's memories are being used to create these fortresses might have a close familiarity with the logo. Perhaps a former arena competitor, one of the Reapers who visited the island, or perhaps even Amarantha herself. Also, the Pirate Lord is bald under his hat. So to sum it all up, The Legend of the Veil is a richly rewarding new voyage that is sure to spice things up in the Sea of Thieves and lead to all sorts of new tales to tell. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining, and thank you so much for watching. As always, I am PoGForce, and I will see you all next time. Stay awesome, everyone.